Hello everyone, myself Nishitha, Assistant Professor, Department of CSIT, working at MLR Institute of Technology. In previous sessions, we have seen about bankers algorithm, paging, page table, and what do you mean by page replacement algorithms. So in this session, we are going to discuss about file system. So let us see the overview of this presentation. So in this file system, we are going to see about file systems and file attributes and operations and what are file directories. So let us see first what do you mean by file system. So before going to file system, let us say what do you mean by file? What kind of data it contains in a file? So file is nothing but it is a collection of data to store in a system. So collection of data to store in computer system. And this data may be of which file? So it may be a image file, it may be a text file, it may be a video file, it may be a audio file, and it may be an executable file. So whatever the related files it contains, which that files are stored in the computer system. So that is what about file. So each file consists some data and that data is stored in the computer system. So let us see the file system. So what do you mean by file system? File system, it is a method of an operating system used to store, organize and manage the files and directories on a storage device. So what is a file? File is a collection of data to store in a computer system, whereas a file system is nothing but it is used for a method and in an operating system to store, organize and manage the files in and file directories into a storage device. So all these files are stored in what? Computer system, and that computer system consists some storage devices. So that is what keeping the all files together in a storage device. Some common types of file systems include, so there are some types of file systems which include FAT, file allocation table, NTFS, new technology file system, and EXT is nothing but extended file system, and HFS is nothing but hierarchical file system, and one more is APFS, Apple file system. So let us see first what do we mean by file allocation table. In this file allocation table, an older file system is used by older versions of Windows and other operating system. In this file allocation table, whichever the Windows consists some older versions that are moved or removed from the older version to new versions, and these are nothing but some operating systems. So operating systems are nothing but Windows 7, 11, 10 and some other operating system like Unix, Linux, some other kinds of operating system which may use this file allocation table. Next, new technology file system. What do you mean by new technology of a file system? A modern file system used by Windows and it supports features such as file and folder permission. What is new technology file system use? It files the updated version of Windows and it supports some features like files and folders for giving the permission. So it gives the permissions to the files and folders, and some compressions and other encryption. So compression means we may decrease or increase the files, and encryption means combining two files. So whatever we are doing, this permission should be given by the new technology file system. If the permission is denied, we cannot access the files until and unless the authorized user can only access with some permissions by using some secret keys or giving password to that files to access that files. Next, what do you mean by EXT file? Is nothing but extended file system. Extended file system. In this file system commonly used on Linux and Unix based operating system. This extended file system is nothing but commonly used by Linux and Unix based operating system. Which are based on what basis these extended file systems are used? It is used by Linux and Unix. Next one is HFS, hierarchical file system. In this hierarchical file system, it is nothing but a file system used by Mac OS. Mac OS is nothing but for every operating system we have some Mac IDs. In that Mac IDs we have some unique IDs which may we identify so and so system with some Mac IDs. So that is what hierarchical file system. Next, Apple file system. Apple file system is nothing but in Apple iPhones or iOS devices like Macs. A new file system introduced by Apple for their Macs and iOS devices. Macs and iOS devices. iOS devices nothing but Apple version file systems were used by iOS. It is nothing but a new file system introduced by the Apple for their Macs and iOS devices. That is what about Apple file system. So these are the 5 file systems which are used by file systems. What are they? File allocation table, new technology file system, extended file system, hierarchical file system and Apple file system. These 5 systems are used for the files. Next, a file is a collection of related information that is recorded on secondary storage. So it is nothing but, already I have said, it is a collection of data. It is used to stored in the computer system. Here it is saying about it is a collection of related information that is recorded in secondary storage. So secondary storage is nothing but whatever the storage devices which are used for the secondary, that consists under secondary storage. Or file is a collection of logically related entities. It is nothing but a collection of logically entities. Logical entities means which we are entering the files in a text format or video format or an audio or else any graphical interface. So we can use any kind of file with this logical related entities. From the user's perspective, a file is the smallest allotment of logical secondary storage. It is nothing but it is smallest allotment of logical secondary storage. So it may be some small size of files which can be allotted to the logically secondary storage. This is what about file. Next, what are the different types of files are divided? So the name of the file is divided into 2 parts. What are they? It may be some name and extension separated by a period. So in general, how the files are used, if it is a text file, it is used with some name dot text. So extension is txt, whereas it is a document, it is stored with a .doc. For text we are using .txt, for doc we are using .doc. If it is Excel we are using EXL, and if it is an audio it .mp3, if it is video we are storing mp4. So for different kind of files we are having different extensions for each files. So these files are separated by some period. So that is what extension of each file. What are the issues handled by this file system? So let us see. If we have seen a variety of data structure where the file could be kept. So we have seen variety of data structure where the file should be kept. The file system job is to keep the files organized in the best way possible. So suppose I want to find some text file of some name as ABC. So this ABC text file I want to find. Where you have stored? I have stored in some directory like XYZ. In this XYZ directory or XYZ folder, I have to find ABC file. So how we are going to find that file? By using some path. So by using this XYZ folder, I should find this ABC file. So for this we will have some path. So finding the files in a possible way and to get the file in an easy way. A free space is created on the hard drive whenever a file is deleted from it. So when the drive is full, so we cannot insert the file. So in that case we will remove unwanted files and we get the free space from the drive, and then we can insert the new files in it. So that is what freeing the space from hard disk or hard drive to remove the unwanted files and get the free space. To reallocate them to other files, many of these spaces may need to be recovered. So to reallocate, so other files, some other files are required, so the space may be need to be recovered, so that can be recovered. Choosing where to store the files on the hard disk is the main issue with files. One block may or may not be used to store a file. So choosing some files from the hard disk is the main issue. Why? Because we cannot choose directly the which file we want. So we may face some issues. So we may get some errors where I cannot find this file, the file is not found. So in that case, we need to store in a proper place and to get the file easily accessible. So easily to choose that file and we need to access it easily. It may be kept in disks, non-contiguous block. We must keep track all the blocks where the files are partially located. So keeping the disk non-contiguous blocks means all are continuously, we are keeping the all disk files in the disk drives. So we cannot find easily. So keep the track of all the blocks where the files are partially located. So easily we can see the file and easily we can locate that place to insert that file. Suppose in we will have some C drive, D drive or E drive. So in this D drive I will place some folders and files. So easily we need to get the file. So I want the file ABC. So to get this ABC file I need to go for XYZ folder. So when I go to XYZ folder, I'll open it, then I'll find the ABC file. So locate the easy place and easily should be find out the file to access it. That is what, to locate it partially in the files where it is located. Next, what are the different attributes to find out the file attributes and operations? See, let us see. Attributes, types and operations. So, for name we are having doc and we need the operation is create. So, first we need, if we want to create, so we are creating with a name and that is type is document type and we are creating the document file with a name. Next attribute is type. It is executable file and we need to open. So executable files already are ready to execute. So we need to open it and see the output. That is what about this type, executable and open operation. Next, size. Size attribute is used for JPG and we need to read. So whenever we want to see the image, we just see the image. If any text is there, we are ready to read that text on that image. Next, attribution is creation data and the type is XIS and here we are writing write operation. So, we are inserting some data by typing. Next attribute is author and type is C and append. So, we are appending is append means combining or merging two files. Next, last modified, any updation of that and the type is Java. And truncate. Truncate means we are going to delete. Next, protection means we are protecting the data and type is class and delete. So, whether if the protection is done, insert or delete. So, last is close. These are the attributes of files and operations, how we are going to place by its name, type, size, creation data, author and last modified and how we are going to protect. So, the types are nothing but doc, exe, jpg, xis, c, java and class. What the operations? Create, open, read, write, append, truncate, delete and close. These are the attributes and operations done by the file system. So, next one is file directories. What is a file directory? The collection of files is a file directory. So, nothing but in a directory, we consist of n number of files. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are all what? In this some directory, it consists some n number of files. So, collection of files in a file directory. So, the directory contains information about the files, including attributes, location, ownership. So, this files consists some attributes and we need to find out the location of the certain file and we have to find the ownership. So, if we If we want ownership means we whatever the file we need to access, we need some permission. So in that case we need some ownership. So this is what about how we are going to in the file attributes, it consists some attributes, location and ownerships. So much of this information, especially that is concerned with storage, is managed by operating system. So in this, the information, especially the concerned with the storage, is managed by the operating system. So the information should be managed by the operating system. So the directory itself is a file accessible by various file management routines. So in this file, the directory itself is a file. So directory itself is a file and it is accessible by file management routines. So all the files are managed by the file management by some routines. So let us see how this information contains some device directory, how we are going to store this device directories. So below are the information contained in a device directory, how we are going to store that the files in the which format you are going to store in the directories, in which device directory you are storing this information in the form of file, in which format. So let us see. First, it may be some name. So name is nothing but suppose you are giving a text file, you are writing some content. So some content is written and for this file name you are giving some name as some ABC. So ABC is the file name. So giving some names to that file or device directories. So next is type. Type is nothing but which type of file it is. It is image file or the image file or audio file or video file or any graphic or an executable file. Which type of file it is. And next, address. Where the file is stored, in which place. I need some proper address to find out that file. So which location I need to trace out that. So finding the files with some address. Next, current length. So what is the file length? So it may be, if it is an audio file, it may be some 3 MB of file of audio. So how much length it consists? So that is what about current length. So maximum length, how much you want to compress the file, how much you want to increase the file. So maximum, how much length you want to keep that. Next, date of last accessed. So suppose this 6th file is accessed by today date is 3rd. So maybe it is last accessed in 2nd. So which date this accessible file is accessed on? Last date of last accessed. So which file is accessed at what time and what is the date of that file used at last. So accessing through some dates. So that is what date last accessed. So date of last updated. So today I updated some data in so and so file. So I need that updation. So it stores today's data and it says that it is updated. So what date last updated? That is what date last updated. Owner ID. So for some files it consists some owner ID. For that owner ID we may access through some password. So for that owner ID we are having some permissions to check that file. So in that case we are having some owner IDs. Next, protection information. How we are going to protect your files with some passwords and secret keys to protect that information and no another unauthorized person can access this file system. So that is what about this file directories used by this device directories. So what are the device directories? Consists of name, type, address, current length, maximum length, date last accessed and date last updated, owner ID, and how we are going to protect it. So next, what are the operations performed for each directory? Whatever the directory and how we are going to find out, how we are going to create, how we are going to search. So let us see the operations performed for the directory. First one is searching of a file. Searching for a file means so and so file I need to search. ABC file I need to search. So in how we are going to search this file in the computer system? So directly going into the search bar and typing this ABC something text So you'll get the file is found in so and so place. So that is what how we are going to search the file. Next, how we are going to create a file. So if you want to create a file, it may be a document file, it may be an Excel file, it may be any audio or video file. So for that you need some creation. So creating a file with the proper name and extension. Next, delete a file. File is unwanted. So in that case you need to delete that file. Next, list of a directory. In list of a directory, it consists of a number of directories. So it may be a form of list. So it may be an accessing through ascending or descending order in a form of list. And rename a file. So and so file. So for this ABC, I want to rename with XYZ. So changing the name into older file name into new file. That is what renaming a new file. Traverse the file system. How we are going to traverse the file system? So changing that one folder to another folder, on one location to another location. How we are going to traverse the file system? Based on this operations, all the directories can be performed. So next, what are the advantages of maintaining the directories? So there are three advantages. What are they? Efficiency, naming and grouping. So efficiency is nothing but a file can be located more quickly. So efficiency means a file can be located more quickly. That is what efficiency. Next, naming. How we are going to naming a directory or a file? It becomes convenient for users as two users can have the same name for different files, or many have or may have different name for same file. So in this naming, it becomes more convenient for the users with two users can have with the same names for different files, or it may have different names for same file. So same name with different files, or different names with same file. So in two of this, naming is same. That is what about this naming directory. Next, grouping. How we are going to group these files? Logical grouping of files can be done by properties. Example, all Java programs, all games, etc. So grouping is nothing but all the programs keeping together in an example is nothing but Java programs and whatever the all kind of games you are going to play in the system. So this is how the advantages done by this directories. What are the efficiency, naming and grouping. So in this session we have seen about file definition and file system. And next, what are the attributes of a file? Attributes and operations of a file. And next, file directories. So in the next session, we are going to see about different types of file directories. If you have any doubts, you can comment in comment box. Thank you.